Okay, we're going to investigate a concept that I learned from Ram Dass many years ago, 40 years ago probably, about having a channel changer on the side of your head. And when you recognize that you may be seeing things differently through each channel, you can differentiate which channel you might be on and which channel other people might be on. So imagine, if you will, we're on the channel changers on channel 1. Now, channel 1, you see the physiology of everybody, anybody. You see they're tall or short or lean or plump or female or male. You see them, you see their physiology. And so when you look at them, we also call this the lust channel. So when boys look at boys or girls look at boys or girls, and they project a fantasy of what they would like from that other individual. It's very selfish, very egocentric, but you look upon the world at large as how it could serve you in terms of your pursuit of wants, needs, desires, and the like. So that would be channel 1, and a great example in terms of channel 1 is the cat calling by the construction workers of pretty women who wander by. Hey babe, I'd like to do something for you, to you, with you, on you, whatever. That kind of scenario is done in terms, many people have channel 1 in their system. Many people reside on channel 1. So now let's go to channel 2. So we're going to change the channel, and we're going to change it from the lust channel. What can I look upon others as, so I can get something from them? And now we're going to turn it to the channel of personality. So now instead of seeing male or female, we see masculine or feminine. We see introvert or extrovert. We see the roles they play. So they might be caring, they might be upset, they might be loving, they might, I mean, again, they carrying the roles they play. Which hat are they wearing? Are they a policeman? Are they a truck driver? Are they an engineer? Are they a lawyer? Are they a doctor? Are they a mechanic? It just depends what role you play. And so when we chat a little about, have you ever had a speeding ticket by a police officer who takes himself way too seriously? And so in taking himself too seriously, you're going 5 miles an hour over the speed limit, and that's dangerous, and there's a part of you that wants to say, well, no, it isn't all that dangerous, and maybe you're taking this a bit too seriously. Now, granted, we don't generally speak back to police officers when they're giving us tickets. But you can see sometimes that officers and anybody can be taking themselves too seriously, so that when they have the hat of the police officer on, it's wearing them, not them wearing the hat. And so what if we start to take these hats off? We take these roles off. So the role of the mother or the sister or the brother or the daughter or the child, whatever. How many hats do you wear? Oftentimes many. And sometimes people only can interact with one another as long as they say, I'll wear my hat, as long as you acknowledge that I'm wearing my hat, and I'll acknowledge that you're wearing your hat, and I'll only interact with you in that way. So oftentimes in this circumstance, we have relationships and we've developed rapport with people, and we can only interact with them on a certain fabric of understanding. I'll pretend to be who I am as long as you pretend to be who you are, and we kind of both agree to that. So in essence, personalities oftentimes can hijack a person's true essence because the personality is wearing them. And so as we see personality, we see the roles they're playing. And that's channel 2. Now, most people reside on channels 1 and 2. So now let's switch the channel changer to channel 3. Now, channel 3 has 12 aspects, 12 tribes, 12 constellations. And for those of you who are not familiar with astrology, many are, so many will know their sun sign. And oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes, your sun sign is quite demonstrative. It's quite descriptive of who you are. So if you are a Virgo, you're very interested in the details and you're very interested in cleanliness, and it goes on for all 12 signs. So in essence, most people live in channel 1, channel 2, and their astrological sign. There's the tribes by which we designate various people. Now we have the opportunity to recognize that there may be another channel. Now, almost everybody resides on channels 1 and 2. That's where they are. Their role or their hat wears them rather than them wearing their hat. Their physiology and their lust, if you will, designates what they're looking for or wanting from others. And they're driven by their emotions. Many, many people live predominantly in their emotional body or their astral body. So now let's shift it to channel 4. Now, channel 4 does to your sense of who you are what Einstein did to Newtonian physics. Einstein said Newtonian physics, or Isaac Newton's physics, were all good and correct, but they were only relatively correct. So now we're going to chat a little about channel 4. This is the channel that when you look at another and you see their eyes, you see that they are just like you. There's another soul in that package. Are you in there? I'm in here. You're in there? You and I are just the same. We've got different packages. We've got different attributes. We've got different vices, virtues. We've got a different packaging. We've got different history, but we're the same. We're just resident in a different vessel. And as soon as you recognize that in others, it changes your sense of reality. Now all of a sudden your packaging is relative, but your divinity, your knowingness, that aspect that we speak of in esoteric parlance is the soul, becomes evident in your inquiry into another. So now that's channel 4. That's when we look into the eyes of a newborn and we realize how incredibly present they are, but they don't have channel 1 or 2 developed yet. But they are perfectly present, and many would say newborn babes, when you gaze into their eyes, you can see them as their soul expression. What a wonderful thought. And now let's change from channel 4 to channel 5, and channel 5 is everything. Everyone in the world is a mirror. Everything you like or dislike about one or another is mirrored in you. So when you're watching yourself triggered, when you're watching yourself reacting, you find room for investigation. Isn't that interesting that this situation is making me? What is it that I'm seeing that reminds me of myself? How is it that I can use that to further develop my true understanding of myself? Because one of the big questions that was posited by Plato and many other philosophers throughout time is, who am I? And part of this is giving you a construct through which you can examine who you are. You're not your physical body. You're not your emotional body or the personality, the role that you play. You're not your mental body or your intellect. Because if you identify it as your intellect, when you stop thinking, do you stop being? You're far bigger than that. You are this profound, expansive consciousness. You are a profound expansion of your consciousness. And that's where we have all of the channel changers. Now, when you recognize that 4 and 5 exist, channel 6 is you just become one with it all, and you are not separate from any of it. So now as you think on these, you can start to identify, oh, isn't it interesting? I might be on channel 1 as this is happening, or might be on channel 2 as this is happening, or isn't that interesting that this person is very upset because of their personality has been potentially hijacked. And yet the channels 4 and 5 and 6 even, there's a calmness, there's a silence, there's a reverence for who you really are, and it's also this epiphany of self-discovery. Food for thought.